Adjustment of the City of Brownsville is now called to order. Everyone will please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Meeting start time is 5:33 p.m. Mr. Slackman, would you please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, next order of business is oath of offices and statement of appointments. If the three of you would rise, and are we good with them just reading?
That's fine.
Okay. Y'all want to start with the oath of office? Sure.
Are we doing individually? Or?
Together will be fine, I think.
Oh, just make sure to raise your right hands.
And which one is the oath?
The one that says oath of office.
Okay,
Do that one first.
sounds good.
I,
Howard
Dylan E.
Slackman,
Vanderford Jr., do solemnly affirm that I will faithfully execute the duties as a member of the Board of Adjustment of the City of Brownsville, Cameron County, of the State of Texas, and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state, so help me God. I, Dylan E. Vanderford Jr., do solemnly affirm that I have not directly or indirectly paid, offered, promised to pay, contributed, or promised to contribute any money or thing of value, or promised any public office or employment as a reward to secure my appointment or confirmation thereof, so help me God. And then I assume signatures. Where it says Dylan. Okay.
This one, it's going to be the great, voice
This one and this one.
This one.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And this will be the last one. This one.
You can go into the mixer after this.
Oh, yeah.
So membership drive.
Yeah, I heard about it, but yeah, I can. David's going to be in McAllen. Has to be exactly how I signed, right?
Carry these things. It's supposed to stop the
They're both signed.
electronic copy. Do they work?
Perfect.
I think so.
It's the slightest idea if it works, but I carry it.
I couldn't say for sure, but yeah, I've always thought about that too whenever I travel internationally.
I carry
Getting
one
wallets
on
or
each
something that
side.
protects it.
Interesting.
I know when my husband was in New York last, his pocket was picked up. So
Yeah. Oh, man.
It was actually picked though,
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
not just scanned.
yeah. But the crooks are out there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Next order of business is approval of minutes to the regular meeting of July 3rd, 2019. Have you gentlemen had a chance to review the minutes?
Yes, we have this, I mean, as I'm sure you see, there's one glaring glaring mistake on it. It says that Mr. Ochoa was absent, and yet he participated quite a bit during the meeting. So he was either here or not here.
I didn't
You
even
remember
notice
being
that.
here in July, Mr. Choi?
In spirit.
I think that was the one he was missing at.
No, I was missing.
He was asked.
All right, so in each spot where he says that he did this and that, it's somebody else.
Yes, as Mr. Ochoa presented on the variance request. It's- yeah.
Several places.
No, that is correct. I apologize, that is a mistake, and that will be fixed. Yes, yeah, you can still approve with corrections, and we'll bring it back for signature.
Any other corrections?
I didn't even catch that.
With that, it was so blurry. With those corrections, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
There's a motion by Mr. Slackman, second by Mr. Vanderford to approve the minutes as corrected. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Next, public hearing on case number 2019-18-V. Mr. Ochoa.
Good afternoon, Chair, Board members. Case number 2019-018-B, public hearing and action to consider a variance from Chapter 348, Article 7, Section 348-1531, Signs and Billboards, to allow a pole sign at Lot 1, Block 1, Riverwalk subdivision, located at 20 Sun Pearl, as requested by O'Reilly Auto Enterprises, LLC. Section 348-1531, Signs and Billboards, prohibited signs. The following types of signs shall be prohibited within the historical district. However, any sign designated as a contributing sign or structure by the Historic Preservation Officer shall not be prohibited unless or until such designation is revoked. Pole signs. This is the subject property. This is a 200-foot radius. This is a site plan from the property with the proposed building and sign. These are photos from the,
This should play that video.
this is the video?
Yeah, that's the video. Can you take off the red mark? One second. Oh, it just keeps giving me marks. So you all, just to clarify, you all had asked for samples of video. And so we did ask our code enforcement officers to go out there and to take some video for you guys. And it was playing in the office. Gabe, do you happen to know how this would play?
Is it attached or is it linked?
No, it's embedded into the presentation. If you're okay with it, we can skip it, but it is a video.
Do you have it in any other location on your computer?
Not on this one.
Okay.
On our desktop back at the office, yes.
Are you guys comfortable proceeding without the video?
Can you right-click on it?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
I'm trying to, but it just keeps pressing, it keeps giving me ink marks. Did you unclick the pen?
It is on again.
How do I get rid of the?
I'm satisfied to proceed.
Yeah, I am too, and don't feel bad, Myrna, the videos are supposed to start in October, so you have a period of adjustment.
Yeah,
Oh.
no.
We're adjustments, aren't we? Before we continue, does the new commissioner need any agenda or paperwork or anything on this case?
No, I think I can follow along if we get, whenever we're ready.
Very
It'll be
good.
okay.
Okay, Mr. Ochoa, you can proceed.
Can we just clarify that Michelle Garcia, an alternate, has stepped up on the dais? And if we could start over since she didn't get to see the first part of
Sure.
the presentation.
That works.
Case number 2019-018-V, public hearing and action to consider a variance from Chapter 348, Article 7, Section 348-1531, Signs and Billboards, to allow a pole sign at Lot 1, Block 1, Riverwalk subdivision, located at 20 San Pearl Boulevard, as requested by O'Reilly Auto Enterprises, LLC. Section 348-1531, Signs and Billboards, prohibited signs. The following types of signs shall be prohibited within the historical district. However, any sign designated as a contributing sign or structure by the historic preservation officer shall not be prohibited unless or until such designation is revoked. Number 7, pole signs. This is an aerial of the property in question. This is the 200-foot radius. This is a site plan with the proposed building and sign location. This was supposed to be a video that we cannot play. This is just the information on grounds for granting a variance, and as per Texas local government code, the variance may be granted if it is not contrary to the public interest, is due to special conditions, and will be in accordance with the spirit of the zoning ordinance. It may not be granted if it is for financial hardship, nor for a hardship that is personal as to the landowner. Staff recommendation: staff does not support granting the variance requested to allow a pole sign. Staff has been unable to establish grounds for granting a variance.
Did we get anything from the Historic Preservation Board or Review Board? Did they review this if this falls under a historic district?
It wouldn't go to them until after it has been approved here or denied here.
It is not allowed per ordinance.
So even if we approve it, they could still deny it?
So the variance would be to allow the pole sign?
Yes.
And then that's when they would have to consider it, because you are making a variance to the zoning ordinance. And the historic preservation section lies within Chapter 348. So if you all approve it, then the Historic Preservation Board would be able to put in limitations on what kind of a sign, how big, and
Aesthetics.
things of that sort, yeah.
Okay.
The cabinet size is still under review, just so you know.
I'm sorry, the what?
The cabinet size, the actual sign.
Okay.
Is still under review. This is just to allow a pole sign in lieu of a monument sign.
Allow, okay, versus a monument.
Correct.
Let me read that one more time. Okay, so it's to allow a pole sign, but it's not specifying the height that they're requesting?
I don't recall reading
No,
anything
I didn't see
about
anything
that.
about height in
And
there.
I'm just curious about that, because especially they're talking about competitors and other signs and other businesses. I would think we're not gonna say, yeah, you can put up a pole sign and it's 100 feet taller than their neighbors. So I think knowing what the other signs on that block are that they're referencing is with regard to height. I know we can see them in the pictures that were submitted, and thank you guys for that. But yeah, I'd like to know a little.
I want to say it's possibly 30.
This application is, we're enforcing two ordinances, technically. There is a sign ordinance, and then there is the section for the historic preservation. So there's also limits on the sign ordinance already that we have to abide by. And I don't think they specify.
They
Did
did.
they?
So if on one of the attachments within your packet that look like this, on the second page, it is 30 feet high,
Oh.
and the actual sign itself, they're proposing 18 feet wide.
And the variance we're granting is not about the width. The width will not fall under our purview, correct?
Correct. This is just to actually allow a pole.
pole sign.
So pole sign
Yes.
at all.
You can set up as a condition the height specified on the request.
And do we know, in that strip in particular, what the height is of other commercial businesses, the maximum that we see in that area?
We don't have that information. I mean,
We'd be
there's-
able to, if we were so inclined to grant a variance, we could put it with the stipulation that it not exceed the height of any other existing signs in that same strip, correct?
You could put that stipulation, yes.
Okay.
Based on what they've submitted and other signs for O'Reilly's in Brownsville, it would be a similar size sign.
Yeah, but I think the question here is that this store is in an area where that type of sign isn't traditionally allowed. So I don't think it's so much about what their other stores have. It's more about in this strip, what standard are other businesses being held to?
Right.
And if we're holding them to a different standard, then that might create a competitive disadvantage for them, I think is the claim that they're making.
Correct, because even there's, the highest you can have a sign here will be along the expressway. So if you have a store like another O'Reilly's on the expressway, it'll be a disadvantage to the other stores there.
I appreciate that this is just an opinion. This thing is turning on the fact that this is a historical, designated as a historical district.
Yeah.
15 years ago, when I moved to Brownsville, I lived within blocks of this location. And as you can see in this particular photo, the old bridge is right there, literally a few stores down from this location. This is not the kind of historical district that normally comes to mind when you think of areas to be preserved. Having a sign down there, is, again, just my opinion, is hardly going to change the nature of this area. It's just not something that you would think immediately, well, I want to preserve this. It's a lot of lots and
It's a lot of commercial.
storage facilities and not much else.
If I may say something,
Sure.
this is the time to, one of the things that the Planning and Redevelopment Services Department does is think about what could potentially be there in the future. How are those empty lots, how they could be developed. And so one of the things that we consider when not allowing pole signs, when the pole signs that are already there, we don't know if they were approved. That's not part of the staff that was here, that's here now. So potentially what could be there, and at what point do you draw that line of, do we want to continue this in the future?
When was it this fell into the historic district? Do we know?
I'm not entirely sure. The overlay district, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I think my concern on this is, and I understand historic preservation, but usually you've got consistency throughout. So like downtown here, nobody's got big pole signs, so everybody's got the same type of sign up and down Elizabeth Street, Adams Street, around Market Square. But Sam Pearl, people have pole signs, and this is zone commercial. So my concern is for the other property owners and for this property owner is subjecting them to this limitation when other businesses aren't being held to that currently. Does that put them at a disadvantage? I think that's the question that I'm weighing in my mind.
Anyway, I have to agree with you.
Because I think, yeah, those are things businesses look at, and if they find out, well, if I buy that lot, I can't put up a sign, but I might be able to buy a couple of blocks down and then I can put up a sign. That might be a factor, which places the property owner at a disadvantage to market his property. And a property owner like O'Reilly at a disadvantage to make full use of their property with regard to the same way a neighbor's making use of theirs. Any other thoughts?
I would like to see the pictures.
Absolutely.
If I borrow them.
Do you have the full packet?
I can lend for these for the meeting. Who's got one?
And so the staff doesn't support it because of the historical,
There is no hardship.
I mean, that's what you're saying? Okay.
Staff is saying there's no hardship. O'Reilly is saying the competitors are there with pole signs. It is a hardship. Now, is it self-imposed?
No.
No. That's,
But is it financial?
it is financial.
No, it's not.
I'm good with those.
It's not financial because it's gonna be cheaper for them to put up a monument sign than a pole sign. So it's not a financial hardship that they're arguing. It's competition. It's they're not able to make full use of their property the same way their competitors are.
Okay.
Yeah, if this was, you're making me do something that's gonna cost me $10,000 more than what I wanna do, that would be a financial hardship, but I don't see competitive disadvantage as financial,
It's right across from the bridge.
or not strictly financial.
Yeah, the bridge is on this side.
I took this in a similar fashion as making one person in a neighborhood put in a sidewalk in an already established neighborhood that nobody else has a sidewalk on. We've granted variances for not putting sidewalks in those situations very often, despite the fact that it is the city of Brownsville's intention that more sidewalks be put in.
And in this case, it's kind of the opposite, where you got signs there already, pole
Right.
signs there already. And to you, coin your phrase, to make full use of his property. I think that's pertinent here.
These are their competition, so they want their sign to be the same size as that.
And this auto parts is there on the same place?
Yes, that is down the street from them.
Advanced Auto, yes. I
That is
think
on the
there's a
corner of
dollar-
Mexico, or I
Dollar
think it's called
General.
Mexico
Dollar General
Boulevard
also.
and San Pro.
Oh, okay.
And I know Advance has been around since approximately 2006, 2007.
7,
Yeah.
yes.
The Dollar General sign is significantly smaller,
And so is the other, whatever that is. Other
but I'm
sign.
sure that that's,
In general, Dollar General,
I see what you did there.
their signs are significantly smaller
Anyway,
overall
right.
than an O'Reilly or an Advanced or a AutoZone.
And again, I'm repeating myself, but I'm reacting to the area. I'm really reacting to the area. It would have never dawned on me that this area with the parking lots and used car lots and storage facilities, those storage facilities,
Oh, yeah.
and no historical structures, like a building that was built in the 1910, nothing like that in the area, and it's a stone's throw from the old bridge, whatever that means. I'm having difficulty hanging this company on the HD.
I'm in agreement.
You guys good with the review of the
Yes.
pictures? Do you all have any questions? Anything else, gentlemen? Anything else from staff? Council?
Thank you very much.
Just that it needs to be open for public discussion, public hearing. I realize no one's here.
But I would have forgotten about that if you hadn't reminded me. Thank you.
Now,
So this is a public hearing. If there's anyone who would like to come up and speak for or against this application, please come up, state your name for the record. I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
so moved.
Second.
There's a motion by Mr. Vanderford, second by Mr. Slackman to close the public hearing. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries.
I'm going to make a motion to approve the variance.
Any
I'll second.
stipulation on height, gentlemen?
Rather than not higher, that you said, I'd like to use the word similar height to the other signs, or something that if he's 2 inches above, by nature of the poles that he buys, some wording to that effect, that the height doesn't exceed in a similar way the others. Now, maybe that's phrased poorly, but
The highest.
the height,
is-
not the
but-
size of the sign, the height of the pole.
Yes, but the highest sign in the area, or the average of the signs in the area, or,
That it's similar to the highest sign in the
The
area.
highest.
okay.
Thank you very much.
And I'll second.
There's a motion by Mr. Slackman to approve, seconded by Mr. Vanderford. Discussion?
Can we have for the record what the hardship is?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
The
what-
hardship is that the property owner would not be able to make full use of their property in the same way that other property owners are that currently have pole
So
signs.
within the ordinance, there is a section that says that a hardship cannot be something that would keep the owner from using the property to its highest or best use.
There's a difference, though, between highest and best use versus what everybody else, just average use that everybody else is using.
And if
But
you don't
this is
mind, Mr.
So,
particular
Leo,
for example, if they were
this
saying,
property.
we're gonna sell more if we put up a 100-foot sign, we want 100 feet even though everybody else has 30, that's making highest and best that they're shooting for. But to say, I wanna be able to do what all my neighbors do, that's just about making regular use of their property.
And in addition to that, Ms. Leo, I'd like to get a legal judgment here. What Ms. Leal is referring to are guidelines. This board can make any decision they like in terms of sticking with the variance. We don't have to follow the exact letter of what she's describing. Those are guidelines. Am I wrong?
What you need to find is that there is a hardship, and hardship is defined by certain case law as many different things. Some of the things that were up on the slide is you can't be for a financial hardship alone. It has to be unique to the property and unique to the area. In this case, it's an actual ordinance that says you can't have a pole because it's a historical district. So I'm not exactly sure if what you're looking at for hardship is different than normal, because normally it doesn't refer to something in a historical district that you cannot do. I liked the analogy that you gave in regard to certain people in neighborhoods having to put in a sidewalk while others don't have to. I think that basically gets to the point of what the hardship here is in this case. But I personally believe, and legally and opinion-wise, that if you guys find that that's your hardship to hang your hat on, then the only thing that the city can do is appeal your decision.
Thank you very much.
So if that's what you believe. I also would make a recommendation that you guys allow the historical district to put in what they believe the conditions of the pole, the width, and the height, and everything should be, since it's in the historical district.
Well, on that note, though, I think when that question has come up to this board before, we specifically asked and were told we would have the decision of the historic district before us to consider before we made our judgment.
But
And
in this
now-
case, it's different. They can't
I
even
understand that.
make that decision because there's no decision for them to make.
We-
In this case, you have to make your decision first before they can even be
But
considered.
we don't have to give them permission to do their due diligence. They're going to do it. Do we have to put into the motion that they should?
No, what I mean is that in order for them to even look at this item, it has to be approved by you.
Right.
Because it's against ordinance to be put there.
If the board recalls, some months back, maybe more than a year back, we approved a similar variance for a pole sign for, I believe, Murphy USA Walmart
Yes.
at the corner of Paradise Line Road and
Alton Glore.
Alton Glore, where other gas stations in the area had pole signs, and that we were, as a city, going to require them to put up a monument sign. And we granted variance
Yes, we
because
did.
it was,
Same
Same thing, competitive disadvantage.
Competitive disadvantage.
Yeah. And I know I have read case law on this, it's at the appellate level or at the Supreme Court level for Texas that talks about being able to make full, not maximum, but full use of the property as any other one would expect to is reasonable, and a reasonable expectation, and would be considered a hardship if they're not going to be granted that. It's obscure, and so I understand why you guys wouldn't find that, wouldn't know that, and wouldn't see it. Unfortunately, I've got a mind that works 24/7 sometimes, and I'll start researching case law at 3 a.m. and find the most obscure cases. Okay, other discussion? And I'll send you guys a copy of that case, because I keep a file on them. All right, all those in favor of the motion to approve, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
Can we
Approved
clarify?
unanimously.
Are you going to leave it to the Historic Preservation Board, or are you keeping the,
We're approving a pole
variance.
sign, as stated, not to exceed the maximum of, the similar maximum of other signs in the area.
Correct.
But yeah, we're not going to defer to the Historic Preservation Board to amend what is within our purview to do. Now, anything that falls within their purview, they're at liberty to do that.
okay, but yours is to not exceed the highest height of the surrounding area?
Correct.
Okay.
Is that correct, Mr. Slackman?
Not substantially, Ms. Leo. If he's an inch over, I don't want a problem. So substantially, we put in substantially.
Any other questions?
Oh, boy, we don't have John.
So
does anybody
Lizette-
remember how to do that without John here?
Since Lizette took his spot,
Yeah,
should we
there you go.
delegate that
Yes.
responsibility to her?
I think so.
Mr. Kinch had been on the board for many years, but he was always the one who traditionally made the motion to adjourn when we were done with business. So
Okay.
since you took his spot,
So I should say motion to
I
adjourn?
move to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion?
No.
Meeting adjourned, 6:03 PM. Thank you.